Barbara Kendall Davies. You're here today to talk about your new series of books based on letters and diaries from a life in music. Would you like to tell us a little more?
Absolutely. Well, my husband and I met at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama in 1961. But then I had 4 years to do there, and my husband was more advanced than me, and he was taken up by the Welsh National Opera and relocated to Cardiff. And so we were apart quite a lot, and we began writing letters to each other, and we continued for the rest of our lives writing letters every time we were apart. He always kept diaries consistently, and then one day my son was visiting us, and he found this cache of letters and the diaries, and he said, you know, there's a book here. So I approached my publisher, and they said, yes, we like the thought of this, send us a treatment. I did, and then that led to the manuscript of the first volume called Love and Music, and that came out in 2020. And because I still have such a lot of letters and the diaries, it led to a sequel, which is already written and will also come out shortly with Austin Macaulay Publishers Limited. And that book starts as I graduated from Guildhall and went into the profession as a classical singer and an opera singer too. That goes on until the birth of our son in 1970, and finishes with us moving to a new house in 1973. Then there are some gaps because we're together more running the Apollo Group of London, which we founded with Gillian Skerry. And the diaries are not quite as detailed as he has made them in other years, but they still lead on to the various things that were happening to us. And then that book goes up to, up to 1973, and then the book I'm working on now, the compilation, takes us up to 2004 when we moved here permanently to Jersey. We never intended to retire, but by that time I'd become a published writer. I was singing less, although not giving it up. Chris had just done a new role when we moved here, so he could have stayed on doing character baritone roles, but he loved teaching, and so here he set up another teaching practice. He loved gardening and cricket and reading, and he kept himself busy. There were also quite a lot of trips to France, back to the UK, to London, where we had a pied-à-terre at the Royal Overseas League Club in St James's. And one thing after another, we were very, very involved with a lot of things. Broadcasting here on BBC Radio Jersey, and I was writing articles for the Jersey Life magazine, and so it went on. And I did my final public recital in 2010 at on the estate of Pauline Viero Garcia, who was the subject of my large 2-volume biography of her life. Charles Robin Broad, an old friend and eminent composer, came along to play for me, and I performed in the house of the Russian writer Ivan Turgenev, who had been a great friend of the Vieros and eventually lived with them. And he built a house on their estate, which is now the Turgenev, Viero and Malibran Museum. And they hold concerts there every summer, and so I was invited to give a recital singing some of her songs and those by some of her eminent friends in the world of music. And that was to commemorate the 100th anniversary of her death in 1910. And so life goes on, and now I've laid aside my singing career. That ended in 2012 with a group of songs for the BBC here, and now I'm a full-time writer. I've also been a prodigiously busy painter, But at the moment, I'm devoting all my time to writing.